Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Metroid 2 Randomizer Tournament 2021. We have a pretty good matchup here with ReedWhaley versus Koushi. And with me commentating, I'm Jagger G, and with me commentating is Pyro Paper Planes. How's it going?
Hello. Yes, I'm excited for this race. All right. First item is Violet Translator, which is always going to be one of the first two items we find. So let's see what our second item will be.
Yeah, you're always going to find Violet Translator, one of the first two items when you start here, because that's the only single item that allows you access out of Great Temple. You can technically receive combinations of items, theoretically, but it's just extremely weighted to give you a single item that unlocks locations.
And having the Violet Translator as our very, very first item allows us to read that Violet Translator hint. And we've already confirmed that Chica is just a missile expansion. So the Chica dream is already dead.
Oh boy.
Chica being one of the three big main temple bosses. And throughout the world are hints that are colored violet, emerald, amber, and cobalt. And you need each respective translator to decipher the hint. And also use those translators to unlock a few various doors throughout the world too.
So I'm pretty interested in this matchup. Neither of these players have been in the previous year's tournament. They're somewhat new to the Metroid Prime 2 randomizer community, at least within the last year. I know Koushi has played a lot of Prime 1, has done a lot of speedrunning for it. Reed, it's kind of, I guess, less on the speedrunner side, but still, randomizer is a completely different skill set, it seems. And
yeah, I'm definitely interested to see how these runners compare to one another, and also know a little bit of knowledge about them, mainly through this tournament.
What I like about like non-veteran matches, like people who haven't been playing for like a decade, is that they have new strategies. They have different approaches to things that sometimes they're not necessarily slower. Sometimes they're just like easier or just different.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about the randomizer too, and you end up discovering new things about the game for that way. Getting morph ball bombs, something we should mention, was what the Dark Alpha Splinter dropped. Allows us free, quick access to that item there in Transport B. I believe it's Transport B.
Yeah, Transport B access. So we most likely will not be seeing the task jump here. The task jump is, it can be pretty good. It looks like this probably an Aegon key. It's some kind of red temple key that they might have to come back for later. But it definitely wouldn't even be worth going for the task jump if they were comfortable with it in the first place. Ing Hive key, okay, so they can just ignore it entirely.
The 3 red keys are for each respective zone are required for accessing the bosses. So the Aegon keys, Torvus keys, and Inghive keys for Sanctuary Fortress. But yeah, the Inghive keys in particular are rather useless, except in extreme circumstances where like an Annihilator beams behind quad, for example. And the Cursed Lake has a key. Now, if I'm not mistaken, key hints can be referring to both red or STKs.
Yep. That's correct. And we're starting with Space Jump Boots. This is real nice.
So that's a hint there, but in green text, which is a joke hint, which is useless. To access to complete the game, they need to acquire the 9 Sky Temple keys, which we just call STKs for short. And they're scattered amongst the world, amongst the items too.
We should probably call them steaks. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it sounds appealing to me. Collect 9 steaks.
Oh, this community has a thing for food, doesn't it? Well, between steaks and cheeseburgers.
Yeah, that's a human thing, I think.
Right. So we don't have our Amber translator yet, and this is a great example of a hint having to be skipped for now. Skipped? Oh wow, dark suit.
Okay, they will not be struggling in the dark world. Hopefully, I mean the dark suit actually doesn't take reduced damage from enemies, but it does reduce the dark world atmospheric damage. So.
And one of the gentleman's agreements for this race, well, we should go over that now, I suppose. No final bosses. It is progressive grapple beam. So the screw attack and the grapple beam will be in the same. Like you won't like it, if you find one, you'll get the grapple beam, and you find the other half of the item, you'll get the screw attack. And the third gentleman's agreement is lenient damage in the dark world. But with the dark suit, I don't know what that means exactly.
Mm-hmm. So basically, the damage in... of course, you take damage when you're in the dark world. The dark suit reduces that by like 5 times. Normally, you take 6 damage with the very suit per second, and the dark suit is 1.2 damage per second. But all that damage is accounted for in the logic. Whenever you go from room to room, there's a certain amount of damage that was applied to every path you could take, and the damage taken logically is multiplied by 2, which when you have dark suit basically means it's irrelevant. Just about, not entirely, but there are few cases where you need to worry about dark world damage. That's probably why they got dark suit so early, because normally you would need a certain amount of tanks for certain trips through the dark world, and that requires an energy tank or 2. But if it requires multiple energy tanks, why not just give them dark suit instead?
The seed's fast opening up. We've got our Amber translator, which allowed us to access a hint telling us that there is a beam in Aegon Wastes somewhere, and also accessing an STK behind one of the Amber translator doors. And we're going to see Reed get his hint here. Another joke hint.
Space pirates strangely disliked theft. I'm not entirely sure what that's specifically in reference to. But
Could
anyways, Reed's gonna open up this portal here. This is, I do notice he's doing this before Bomb Guardian. Whenever you defeat Bomb Guardian, it triggers a few different rooms layers. One of them being the portal rooms layer to activate the pirate fight. If you don't defeat Bomb Guardian beforehand, there's just no pirate fight, and you could just freely activate the bomb slot and destroy the bomb block at the end and lower these mirrors and activate the portal. And this will stay activated for the rest of the game. So when it comes back later, it's likely to happen. But there may be a pirate fight, but you could just ignore them entirely and just walk through the portal.
And another thing to point out is that you only need to bomb the final one of the final red little bomb thing to solve the puzzle. You don't need to go through all 3.
Yeah, that was patched in the trilogy version, but yep.
Funnily enough, both runners have decided to go for the first and third one. When
it's common. It's easier, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
It costs like 3 seconds, but like skipping it also costs a little bit of time as well. Koushi opting to bomb the second one as well.
And now that Reed has activated the bomb slot in the dark world, the gate to the light world will be now open, and we'll be able to check the item in Crossroads. That's the dark variation, if I'm not mistaken. It's transit center for the light variation.
Transport center, yeah.
There we go, close.
Yeah, the first bomb block in Portal, I think this is Portal Terminal still. I'm not sure. But the first one is skippable even without space jump. It's just harder. You can kind of just fling yourself around the bomb slot, like in that exit next to the bomb block, and you could just like carry some momentum to push yourself onto the ledge below. It's pretty tricky, and almost no one goes for it.
That's an E-tank, which will make traveling for the dark world a little safer. You typically
so
want
much that whole damage in the dark world is the lenient setting is starting to pay off. They can basically go anywhere without concern.
Yeah, you typically want to find at least a few E-tanks early on, but their usefulness quickly diminishes as you progress. Or as you accumulate them, I should say, not as you progress throughout the world, because the world does get a little more dangerous. All right. Do you want to explain how the Jump Guardian works here?
Sure. So Jump Guardian exists, whether you can see him or not. Before the fight officially starts, normally you're supposed to enter the room from below without space jump. So there's no reason you should be able to see or shoot him. You actually can from where you enter, but it's just so much more finicky. But his hitbox is loaded the entire time the room is loaded. So you can still damage Jump Guardian all the way down to as little as 2 HP. So as soon as the fight actually formally starts after the cutscene happens, then he gains his graphic layer, his model, and then you can just shoot him twice and he's dead.
Koushi opting not to do this strat, however, and just taking the Jump Guardian head on.
Yeah, sometimes it can be kind of tricky to know if you're hitting it, especially if you're too far away. Koushi did get a shot off on the Jump Guardian before the fight started, but they just, I guess, weren't confident that they were actually hitting it, because you are hitting thin air and it's pretty close to other walls. You can generally figure out if you're hitting it or not depending on how the shot kind of interacts with the surface of Jump Guardian. It'll sometimes, it'll have this two-dimensional splash animation, and that'll be kind of rotated in midair if you're hitting it. Otherwise, if it hits a wall, it'll just be against the wall. See, Reed gets it down pretty handily, and honestly, even when the fight has started, it's a bit slower because you have to kind of wait whenever it's space jumping. But for the most part, you can continuously be shooting Jump Guardian throughout the fight.
Yeah, it's not too much of a time loss. Mm-hmm. And we get our missile launcher.
Interesting. So missile launcher, the default tournament settings, they are using the setting that they are able to use missiles with or without the missile launcher. It doesn't matter for firing them. However, the logic will only consider you having the missile launcher. In this case, if you get missile launcher or if you get seeker launcher.
And that is our first Aegon key in the broom closet, as we so love to nickname it.
So Jump Guardian was logically required before Bomb Guardian. Probably. So logic is really handy when it comes to routing in Randomizer. Looks like Koushi is opting for a bit of an ammo refill here. This is ammo, right? Wait, no. Okay, I thought that was her first trip into the temple. No, she just got the item and is leaving. But is there even an ammo station there?
I don't think there is.
No?
I don't think there is, to be honest.
No, there's not. I'm thinking of like other areas. I think, yeah, there's one in Torvis and one in Sanctuary, but that one's just a dead end. Right, okay. I'm getting my rooms confused. I never go to ammo stations anyway, because the drop system in Echoes is pretty fantastic and just gives you whatever you want whenever you need them.
Exactly. In contrast to Prime, which is based Prime 1, which is based on a room per room basis and can be quite finicky at times.
Mm-hmm. Even enemy per enemy basis, like specific enemies can in Prime 1 have different drop rates. In Prime 2, that was changed up a bit. It's still kind of room based, but depending on the room, it's actually still pretty weird because in most rooms, only the second enemy and on will drop items. The first enemy never will.
Now,
like most of the times you want to be farming, it seems to be you need to farm at least 2 enemies for a drop.
All right, ReedWhaley getting his... Oh, thanks, game. That hint is already being acquired, or the item for that hint, the missile launcher. He also just took a peek at the item behind the red barrier in Mining Plaza. And to acquire that item, you have to defeat a Morbus first, and then the satellite dish to unlock the gates, or the satellite dish to unlock the gate will open.
But you also have to collect the Dark Temple energy and return it to the light energy controller.
Yep.
And then to actually get the item, you need Echo Visor and Screw Attack.
Fortunately, I think it was just an E-tank. It's always difficult to get a proper look. It might have been an STK8, but I think it was just an energy tank. So yeah, the next play here is to go into the space labs.
Probably. They also have the option to explore more of temple grounds. I kind of flip-flop. I try to just be kind of random with how I play this. Do you have any preference?
I don't. In this case, I probably would opt to do a little more exploring in Aegon, simply because of that hint that said that there was a beam located somewhere here. But then again, you're right. There could be an item in temple grounds required to then access the beam that's here.
Mm-hmm.
During this fight, if you take a moment to not skip the cutscene, you can actually just make out the item and behind the barrier.
I wonder if it's my eyesight that's bad or like the CRT I'm using, but I never really pay too close attention to the item anymore just because I have trouble telling what it is behind an orange barrier.
It looked like it was glowing there.
A little bit, yeah.
I think that might have, maybe gravity booster?
Maybe.
We'll find out sooner or later. And this is actually one of the few areas where Dolphin could technically have an advantage if playing at a higher internal resolution.
Oh, is that where where the scan kind of locks on to, or the scan and or targeting just locks onto something behind you?
That's one of the disadvantages. But I was more meaning the fact that with the higher rendering pirate being pulled by the boost
to
ball.
Actually see.
Yeah, exactly. ReedWhaley,
I never think
Wiley,
of graphics.
Whaley, totally bowls the pirate above him with the boost ball that he just acquired.
Nice. What it's used for.
So satisfying.
So it's possible to get the item in Central Mining Station right now. It looks like he's gonna opt against it for now. It would require a bomb space jump, which it kind of has a bit of a barrier to entry. It's a pretty complicated trick that a lot of players just opt to not learn quite yet.
Koushi, on the other hand, is opting to go for this bomb space jump, but not quite getting it. Do you want to explain what bomb space jump is?
So, as I said, it's pretty complicated. It's whenever you place a bomb, it propels you in the air, of course, and from that point, as soon as you leave the ground, the game thinks you're standing on the ground for 2/5 of a second for reasons, because echoes. So if you can, whenever you unmorph, typically there's a 23 frame animation that plays where the camera zooms on the back of your head to give you first person control again. If you can manage to interrupt the camera and just block it somehow, or just like bonk it against a wall or something, typically that'll skip that 23 frame animation and it'll give you control instantaneously. And from there, you can jump within that 2/5 of a second window from leaving the ground, and whether you're in midair or otherwise, and you can get a lot of extra height that way.
Yeah, it's used quite often in various areas of the game.
I prefer doing this BSJ next to the turret. That's actually one of the few instances where you just need a single bomb and you could just hold back against the wall as soon as you're airborne. Basically, there are also ways to kind of set up the instant unmorph trick, the instant unmorph trick. You want to put your back up against a wall, then tap forward while morphing, and that'll keep the camera behind you. And then from there, once you're airborne, you hold back and then unmorph, and that should trick the camera sufficiently and give you the instant unmorph.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference, and someone pointed that out, and it made all the difference in pulling it off consistently versus not getting it at all. So while we've been talking, Reed has picked up the light beam, is fighting Bomb Guardian, and he also got a hint that says that the Emerald Translator is exactly 3 rooms away from Save Station C in Aegon, located in Aegon. I believe Save Station C is the one in the Space Labs, Space Pirates Labs. So 3 rooms away from that. Would that be Storage B, perhaps?
Could be. Save Station 3.
Or C.
Save Station C. Storage D, perhaps. D is the one with vanilla dark beam, and B is the one with the dark beam drawer on both sides.
Our second Aegon key collected by Reed.
So there's a quirk about using beams against Bomb Guardian, like especially bosses that aren't intended to that you aren't intended to have beams for. For Bomb Guardian specifically, I don't think uncharged beams damage it at all, but charged shots do. Not 100% sure.
I know for the Jump Guardian, the charged shots will work, but won't do super effective damage, whereas single shots, as you mentioned, they do super double the damage. So it's more ammo efficient and time efficient to just do single shots.
Interesting. Okay.
Koushi is still going for the bomb jump. Hope they get it.
There's also kind of quirks in the hitbox for Bomb Guardian where certain certain parts of it take different damage. Like whenever you stun it, then the head will take damage, but it won't take damage from screw attack. But if you just let it start attacking, then you could damage with screw attack. Not really sure why. Well, because echoes. Other than that,
and Reed using the save warp to get back to the starting location.
Man, I'm just noticing they only have 5 missiles.
Yeah,
That's kind of unfortunate. 25 minutes in. So the drop system I was referring to before, where echoes will give you anything you need. Typically, if you have 0 missiles, the game will give you a double missile drop. So you'll get 10 missiles from the next drop. 80% chance. It's a 20% chance that it just doesn't. But that only kicks in if you have at least 10 maximum missiles. So for now, it's pretty much just the Prime 1 drop system for as far as missiles are concerned.
I've experienced that firsthand too. Dark Beam ammo expansion. Nothing so far. But yes, Reed is now exploring the temple grounds. And this is oh, maybe not. And Koushi has just picked up her second Aegon key.
We're gonna have something on the Morbus, aren't we?
That's the dream.
We know
So
Chick
far-
is dead.
Yeah, so far we haven't seen many Amorbus required bosses or fights in this tournament.
Reed showing off a nice trick there to scan the post to open the gate, to open the locks on the gate from behind, and then just shooting a missile over the gate and letting the splash damage from the missile take care of both locks at once.
You can do it with the charge beam too, but it's a lot more precise, whereas a missile is pretty free.
I'm pretty bad at the charge beam method.
I didn't even realize the charge beam method was a thing until someone pointed it out.
Although Charge Annihilator is definitely as easy, if not easier, than the missile method.
All right, the Dark Missile Trooper that Reed is fighting against is...
Nice.
Oh, that's our final Aegon key.
There we go.
So this Dark Missile Trooper will only spawn once the Bomb Guardian has been defeated, which both runners have done at this point.
Yeah, so it's pretty good idea to get that light beam before going there. It actually does double damage to the Dark Missile Trooper, if I'm not mistaken.
Ultimately, you would typically want to have Dark Beam, so a charged Dark Beam shot and then a missile to instantly take it down, or a power bomb. Koushi has got her Emerald Translator, which of course was what so that's what the hint was referring to. 3 rooms away, of course, from the save station. That makes sense.
Nice. Okay.
And Reed has just found a power bomb expansion, which with our preset settings or rules grants access to using power bombs. However, they're still not in logical play yet.
Basically, this means for routing, you probably don't want to go out of your way to check powerbomb locations. If they're like right next, if they're on your path, sure, yeah, you can just freely pick them up. But if you're gonna go across the map to look for your next progression with the powerbomb expansion, it's not going to be there because the logic doesn't consider you to be able to use them yet, even though you can.
This is going to allow it's going to allow Reed to do the check in Dynamo should he decide to go for it. And that is a progressive suit. Yeah.
Wow.
So damage in the Dark World is no longer a problem.
it's kind of unfortunate that Reed didn't get that emerald that Koushi found, because that would actually give them access to Fortress Transport access to the room right before Sanctuary Fortress.
I missed why Koushi had to reset. Of course, because she dropped down into the...
Oh, no.
Ing Reliquary has a Morph Ball related upgrade as Reed is steering. Fortunately, Reed does already have the light suit, so that won't be a problem. But
Yeah.
Except no Dark Visor.
No Dark Visor, no Seeker Launcher. That could be Cannonball, though. But it's probably Spider Ball. If you're getting a light suit this early, this is a good chance it's Spider Ball. I'm thinking they were supposed to have Seeker Launcher and Dark Visor by now, if they got light suit already.
Just a quick...
Well, maybe it could be in Fortress Transport access.
This is the one
to do.
Reed is, then the GFMC compound, the item in the crate will be duplicated when you activate the cutscene. This is because you're supposed to hit the cutscene before collecting that item. And there's our main power bombs on Reed's end.
Okay.
That item
That's a
only...
way out.
Yes, it is. Yes, this is a one-way access to this area without power bombs, so it's a good thing that Reed collected them. Although he already had a power bomb expansion at the time. The main power bombs will only appear... sorry, not main power bombs. The item in the GFMC compound will only appear once defeating the jump guardian. And just to quickly touch on what I was saying with Koushi earlier on, she went into the labs via the back door, and without Dark Beam or Screw Attack, there's simply no way to get out unless you do a wall crawl or something like that. And she opted to simply reset the game. This does mean she's unfortunately fighting against the Bomb Guardian again.
Yeah, once you fall in that hole, there's no way out with her current equipment. Even if you had Spider Ball, the Spider Track actually isn't even active until after you defeat Dark Samus and reload the room.
And Reed has just come across the super missiles.
There is technically a way out with bomb space, 3 BSJ and Screw Attack Bonk to get up, but she doesn't have Screw Attack anyway, so rip that.
Reed having to actually do a save, doing the save warp there, because he doesn't have an Emerald Translator, but that's okay. So it's taking him to the other side. Looks like Reed might be going to Taurus or possibly for checks. So there's 3 types of hints. There's the translator hints, which you need a respective translator for. There are the key bearer hints, which tells you what the item is in the dark world of that room. And then finally, there's the Sky Temple key hints, which tells you exactly where the Sky Temple keys are. But you need to access the Sky Temple gateway to be able to read them. And to do that, you need to have super missiles, and I believe you need seeker missiles. Yes, you need seeker missiles too, unless you decide to do a wall crawl. The Sky Temple Gateway is also where you deposit the 9 STKs at the end.
This Dark Torvus Temple hint on Reed's end. Personally, whenever I see that, I just don't even bother reading it. It'll stay in my logbook in case I want to check it out later, but I prefer to assume Chica's not in progression.
Especially when the very, very first hint says it's just a missile.
I'm guessing Reed's gonna opt to safety save before looking into Hall of Honor Dead. Looked like he wanted to check that out, but not quite yet. Because Hall of Honor Dead, there is technically a way out. You're supposed to get Seekers there and use Seekers to open the door to get out, but it's not necessarily Seekers there in Randomizer. So there is one other way out, and it involves a midair instant morph into the tunnel you came in from, which is it can be pretty challenging for players. You need just the right height and a little bit of backwards momentum.
Yeah. There are a lot of tricks to this game that can help out. They are not necessarily really required with our preset rules, but they can definitely help speed up progression.
Yeah, so it's nice and all to be able to do tricks and kind of throw caution to the wind and just know you can maneuver your way out. But it's also really important to keep logic in mind, just so you know where to look to find your required progression. A lot of players will even if they're fully capable of doing tricks, they'll prefer to just stick to logical checks instead. I know Gollop's a big proponent of sticking to logic, and he's been pretty successful in the tournaments.
Yeah, Gollop's definitely one of the top players.
Sorry.
Other than the Ing Hive keys that are not typically very useful, the other item that's not useful at all is the energy transfer module. Maybe we'll see that sometime in this race.
So there's so Ing Hive keys. There's a question in chat. I'm not entirely sure the context. Honestly, I don't pay attention. I don't read. Ing Hive keys. Sometimes I confuse them for Sky Temple keys. And Sky Temple keys, under these settings, all 9 Sky Temple keys are required. There are some settings where you can place fewer keys. So, like for example, you may only need 1 key to finish the seed. But under default tournament settings, they'll have to find all 9. Ing Hive keys lead you to Dark Sanctuary Fortress. They're the red temple keys for accessing Quadraxis. However, Quadraxis can also easily be accessed from behind as soon as you get Annihilator Beam, and usually is accessible. Usually you'll find Annihilator somewhere. And it's actually... It's a bit of a trap for... kind of a mental trap for newer players. They don't consider being able to reach it with low health and whatnot. But actually, even though there are little shutter gates that close and force you to bomb jump through the gaps, there are safe spots in the corners of the 2 spots with the Ing swarms that do massive damage. And you could just sit in the corner and bomb jump into the holes. You're perfectly safe. So Annihilator is more than enough to get there.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn in this game, and it can be a bit overwhelming. But if you keep at it, it comes with time and experience.
And there's also, of course, naturally a trick to just jump over the gate that you're normally supposed to enter from the front.
Yes, that that method is viable too. It's out of logic. But if you know for a fact that quad has something and you just don't want to deal with the Hive keys, you can do just that.
Yeah, it's higher difficulties. It's either bomb space jump, or it turns out it's possible to do with just a ledge clip jump, which is very finicky, ridiculous, and I don't recommend doing it. Super missiles under the save station.
Koushi has her super missiles now too.
Yeah, I missed that on Reed's side. It's nice.
And there's our progressive grapple beam.
Yeah, those supers are going to help out a lot on the definitely required Amorbus. Although it does give us access to Torvis, which is real nice that Koushi got that Emerald Translator. She did go back for it, and I really support that decision, because that not only gives them the Fortress Transport access, as well as the Fortress Transport access's hint, but it also gives her several hints along throughout Torvis, and opens up a gate.
Yeah, I agree with that play there too. I have a feeling that Reed will be collecting it before going off to Torvis, if the routing plays out the way I expect it to.
Although thinking about it, they don't really have access to Torvis. They only have access to Torvis Lagoon, because the very first room, well, I guess technically the third room, has a dark beam door blocking your progression.
Yeah, we're still on the lookout for our other beams. I would say the beams lock a significant portion of this game, or at least the light and dark beam. And Koushi now has her light suit. With there being a morph ball related system in Ing Reliquary, I do wonder if we're going to see our Seekers before too long.
I like it. Koushi is putting 2 and 2 together and making her way to Fortress Transport access. Reed, meanwhile, going to be able to use those supers on Storage C up at the top here in bioenergy production.
Yeah, it's going to route nicely with what he's doing. And with the boost ball too, he will also be able to do the check in sand processing.
Speculation in chat: Dark Beam on Amorbus for the 4th time this tournament? Probably.
That's pretty much the only time we see an Amorbus required, is whenever he's holding a beam.
Sometimes the Sky Temple key, but yeah.
And Koushi checking the light suit here.
Jeez. I just noticed, yet again, 43 minutes in, and still only 5 missiles maximum. Where are their expansions?
Just one would be really helpful. Oh, thanks for the super missile hint.
I don't think he opened Storage C, did he?
I didn't see. No. Of course he did.
Missiles for it, so he's gonna have to reload the room to reload those crates to maybe get a missile drop. Oh no.
Actually, without Spider Ball and without Screw Attack, I guess you wouldn't be able to really access that room anyway.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, and he has no missiles for this room.
It was worth coming through here, though. not only destroyed those 2 lasers in the way, but it also reloads this room to reload the crates. So
yeah, hopefully it gets the missiles.
though funny, it was kind of necessary. Okay, yeah, he's opting not to. There's a scan dash you can do from the rising pillars puzzle thing to get to the super missile door. Lokir actually put together a spreadsheet of handy tricks to learn, varying in difficulty and highlighting some stuff that the logic could require. That particular trick is not required, but it's one of the first ones people tend to learn when they're getting into randomizers.
Yeah, the main difference for doing scan dashes and echoes compared to Prime is remembering to hold R to lock your speed.
True. They're very different.
Mm-hmm. And then the other important tip is to make sure to hold the B button as little as possible, or to let go of it as quickly as possible, I should say. All right, and Reed checking sound processing. Will it be a missile expansion?
One of the rare times you're really hoping for an expansion.
It is! Hooray!
He is, in fact, going to pick that up. Because, yeah, you want those guaranteed drops.
And now, at this point, no more. Well, I mean, it would still be nice to find a few more missiles, but I suppose. Koushi picking up her 3rd and final Aegon key. A Morbus is in play for both runners now, should they opt to go for it. Reed is going back. Now, he doesn't have the Dark Beam, so he isn't able to make any further progress one way or another. But Reed is also not opting to go for the scan dash for the super missile door.
So Reed had the option to fight Dark Samus, but he knows fully well that he doesn't have a logical way out, and he's not confident enough, and he just doesn't think it's worth it to do the BSJ, to the bomb space jump to break out.
Yeah, fighting Dark Samus right now would activate the item in the main reactor, and of course the Spiderwell tracks, but there'd be no way for Reed to pick it up right now anyway without Screw Attack or Boost Ball combined with this. I mean, sorry, Boost Ball and Spider Ball.
Mm-hmm. Typically in randomizer races, it kind of hurts to orphan a location, but when you probably have to come back for 2 items anyway, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, unless Dark Beam ended up being in a vanilla location, which would have been very unfortunate for Reed. And we already know through Koushi that that's not the case. So I totally agree with the play.
Yeah, that's surprisingly not as rare as like other trolley locations. It happens to almost everyone. You get a couple of seeds where Dark Beam is just vanilla, and it's of course your last location because checking it is a soft lock. At least when you have to access labs through the back door.
Reed is going to Sanctuary for the back door.
By the way, I missed it on Koushi's side. Did you happen to see what was in Fortress Transport Access?
I don't think I did.
It was not a missile expansion. Oh, yeah. Koushi's looking at the map, and that's reminding me they actually do have access to doomed entry through Warrior's Walk.
I do remember now. It was a PB expansion, I believe. Okay. That's the room with the light, taking the light.
Yeah.
beam. Yeah, I believe that was just a PB expansion.
She has 5 now. That makes sense.
Yeah, I was more blanking on the room name than the item itself there. Chat confirming that for us. Thank you. Or sorry, not chat. Our tracker, Jojo Mojo too, and
Also, chat.
yes. Shout outs to Jojo Mojo too and Op82 for doing tracking for us today.
It's a pretty tough job.
Keeping us commentators on track.
Coincidentally, there's another room called Fortress Transport Access. It's actually in Lower Torvis. Also, the door right next to the Sanctuary elevator. And that's a little bit infamous for higher difficulty seeds to require you to start there with no equipment, with no space jump, and you have to actually jump to the elevator. And apparently it's an extraordinarily tight jump to get onto the rotating platforms, and you're just stuck there for at least half an hour until you finally get the jump.
There's a lot of difficult tech in this game if you are so inclined. All right,
Boy, howdy. Max % no space jump, max % no bombs.
We've had our first single segment no bombs max % run recently complete.
Yeah, congratulations to Dice Around, and also why?
Koushi has opted to go against a Morbus. We have the Worm Rave. You know what?
What?
Let's get some rave music going here. Thank you to our tracker.
Oh, Koushi's actually trying to go for the worm skip. This is extraordinarily tight without boost ball. I'm not too surprised. It's a very tight window to actually roll all the way into the mouth and place a bomb early enough that it explodes before the first one detaches. If you were to do that, that would actually skip the cutscene with the... I don't even know what the cutscene looks like. I will skip it anyway. But it prevents another worm from spawning, and so the third phase just has 2 worms. You want to be careful not to do it the second time, because if you skip the cutscene, then you skip the death animation of the boss, and so it won't drop an item, but it will be dead, and you can't get anything. You're just soft locked.
Yep, no way to get out.
No reasonable way to get out. There's technically an out of bounds. Of course, there's always out of bounds.
Of course.
Almost always. I've never actually pulled it off. Did I?
Do
I
we
pulled
have
it off once with the door open, but that's a different situation.
By the way, do we have any other place in check at this moment, other than a Morbus?
Sanctuary Fortress, Spider side actually. They got main power bombs from the ship, so yeah, they can access the side of Sanctuary.
True.
They can't get too much because they only have.
It looks
they
like
don't
Reed
have Spider Ball, but Pacing Cliff is open. I think just Pacing Cliff.
It looks like Reed's also going to go for it too, though. Also, unfortunately, it does look like we have audio only coming through one channel with Koushi, so we'll swap back to Reed in a moment. There we go.
Worm Rave.
Worm Rave!
Laser Light Show. Cool.
Unfortunately, you want to avoid the Worm Rave because there is nothing you can do while it is doing that attack.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly, dude.
It's great for the chat, though.
Yeah, I think they could technically get. Oh, they don't have screw attack. I was wondering if Hull of Combat Mastery technically would be in logic. I don't know if that is in beginner. To screw attack into the tunnel.
Right.
To get the item. I think the instant morph to cling to the... Actually, the instant morph to cling to the track wouldn't even be in logic because you only need Spider Ball anyway to get there through the puzzle.
Did Koushi pick up anything there? I don't think she did.
So Reed trying to farm missile drop on that Inglet, which unfortunately... Oh, there's Dark Beam in Battleground, of course. So that Inglet in that previous room will never drop an item. I think it's one of those rooms that require 2 kills to get a drop. Like
the lack of ammo.
Want something is usually 2 required kills.
The lack of ammo in this seed is grueling. But at least Koushi won't be struggling with missile management now.
Yeah, I haven't really seen a seed where ammo was a concern, where missile expansions were valuable. And here we go. There are a couple strats for dealing with Battleground quickly. What I personally usually do is I turn left immediately and I shoot the safe zone to the side, and then I walk into the safe zone and activate the other safe zone on the next ledge up, and usually like half of the ing will just walk into it depending on where I'm standing. I feel like they tend to favor like certain spots within a certain distance of you.
Oh, Koushi running out of missiles again. Yeah, so for the crystals, you can either use the light beam, and if any enemy goes into the vicinity of the crystal, then they'll instantly die. If you use the annihilator beam on the crystal, the enemies will be attracted to it. And it's a very easy way of taking out any ing-related creatures.
But amusingly, if you activate 2 safe zones that an ing is attracted to at the same time, they get paralyzed by indecision and they just sit still in a puddle. Although there is also a chance if 2 of them are attracted to the same zone and they bump into each other, they'll just never reach the safe zone and they'll just keep running towards it.
All right. Reed remembering, might as well check this item while he's in the drink.
Yeah, that would have been a pretty good place to check when you have light suit. Imagine having space jump there. So some newer players will, they might get light suit before space jump, and they'll be like, hey, I could check feeding pit, and then they'll jump in, and they'll be like, wait, how do I get out? Because it's really hard to get out. So light suit gives you the gravity boost effect in dark water. However, only when you're unmorphed. Whenever you're morphed, you have water physics again, so you actually you don't get very, very high bomb jumps anymore. So you can't really easily BSJ out. It's possible. It's just hard.
I did not know that. And it seems like a lot of chat didn't know that as well. And as pointed out by chat, there's a possibility of progression now being in Torvis.
With Dark Beam now, yeah.
If you were in their shoes, what would your logical next play be?
Well, being right next to Sanctuary, I'd check Spider Side, and then probably save Warp Out, and then head on to check Hall of Honor Dead, and then check Torvis. Although, might even skip Hall of Honor Dead, depending on how I'm feeling. Because that's one check versus all of Torvis, pretty much.
Would you opt to do the wall crawl to get the hints at this current point?
I wouldn't bother until Screw Attack. Screw Attack, there is a wall crawl you could do without Screw Attack, but you have to start from so far away, and crawling around out of bounds is pretty slow, especially if you haven't practiced the specific one you're going to do. So I don't think it's ever worth it. Although if they don't need Screw Attack technically, it's just a very rare circumstance in which it would ever be worth it. I wouldn't even think of that.
Put your hands up, chat. We've got another worm rave.
Nice. The races are actually really close.
Yeah.
There was a lot of divergence and an unfortunate mishap with the soft lock earlier, but Koushi made up the ground pretty quickly.
Yep.
He was right back in. Pretty side by side.
The biggest difference, is that Koushi hasn't explored the full entirety of the labs. I don't believe, not yet.
Mm-hmm.
So whether she decides to do that or not will be a question. But there was no progression items there.
There wasn't there. However, she does have an extra check in Storage B that she could check.
This is true because she has the Dark Beam now, which Reed didn't have at the time.
So was Amorbus just total bait this seed?
It seems so. Unless there's something in Mining Plaza.
We believe it was an energy tank, but we're not 100% sure. In Cache 4 is also an option.
Just be one moment.
Yeah, this is a bit tricky. In Cache 4, it would kind of feel bad to miss. I've seen progression in Cache 4 late into a seed before. But at the same time, that's one check. Depending on how behind you feel, you might consider just skipping it entirely. If you can.
Yeah, if I'm going to take a guess that Koushi's going to end up doing the labs right now.
Yeah, Dark Beam and Battleground. That'll give Koushi access not only to Storage D, which I believe they know is nothing, but also they can check main reactor because they can actually get out easily.
Reed being rewarded with the missile, opting to not collect the energy. So I'm going to take a guess that he did Reed peek it earlier? I believe he did. So yeah, there's nothing there. So yep, Morbus was not required.
Worms are such excellent bait.
At this point, red keys are practically useless.
Yeah, Echoes went fishing today and they caught themselves two big old speedrunners.
Reed, firing the dark beam at the crystal, because going into that crystal zone will activate a mini boss fight against the Ing.
So there's a scripted fight in that room Reed was just in, but it only activates once you enter the safe zone. So he made sure to deactivate it by shooting the beacon with a dark beam first. Looks like a Borger up in Crossroads. Not interested in that. Just gonna safe warp out, it looks like.
Yep.
So a feature of the randomizer, basically soft lock protection, is the save warp feature. Whenever you go to a save station, you select no to the save, and it'll prompt you to press X 3 times to warp back to the starting room, wherever you started the seed.
And if you really want to do an advanced play, you can save your game and then warp back with the save warp to do a single check that's close by to wherever the starting location is, and then reload your save if you decide that you're not happy with that play.
Mm-hmm. Return it for a full refund.
All right, will Koushi go for the scan dash? Yes, she will.
Nice, I like it.
We'll get to see what this item is.
So this is a bit tricky. You can do it with a normal scan dash, but you could also bend the dash backwards by pressing back on the stick right before pressing jump.
Oh, went a little too far there.
And that can sometimes get you a better angle. Personally, I find bending it backwards is a bit easier for this particular trick.
And Reed has taken the elevator to meeting grounds. So we're probably going to see Reed start doing checks in Torvis.
Yep. So I was saying you're supposed to use Seeker Launcher from inside the Seeker Launcher's room to get out. And that can absolutely be vanilla. Let's hope that's not the case for Reed.
A major upgrade in Putrid Alcove.
Although if it is Vanilla Seekers and Koushi finds it, that would be a pretty close race probably.
I wonder where our Dark Visor will end up being. Because that's now 2 items, if I'm not mistaken, locked behind it. A Morph Ball system in Ing Reliquary, and Putrid Alcove now as well. If I'm not mistaken, that is an Ing cache, which requires Dark Visor.
Wait. No. Poison Bog. Putrid Alcove is the one next door. There's like 3...
in that case, that's much better.
Basically have the same name.
Yep.
Venomous Pond, Poison Bog, Putrid Alcove.
It's
all
the Car Bomb Locked Room.
Torvis.
Thank you, Gerbil, for the clarification. Yeah.
Ruined Alcove. This is Prime 1 item. Or room.
Mm-hmm. So Koushi has ended up checking a few places that Reed hasn't, but unfortunately it's turned fruitless.
Uh-oh. So Koushi just killed the pirate at the top and then spawned the pirate at the bottom, and I think the door stays locked until you reload the room. Whoops. Luckily, you could just reload the room pretty quickly through the light door here.
Koushi going for the scan dash.
She could also destroy the crates and do this the by design method.
Yeah.
Actually, she already did. Or did she? I can't tell. I don't know.
A movement system in poisoned bog.
Anyways, good work on that scan dash. Movement system. Huh. Movement system. Okay. That's either gravity boost or screw attack.
So, I love how I mentioned earlier on that was the room I was thinking of when it was Putrid Alcove.
Yeah. Nice.
So I guess I was right. After all, the Dark Visor will be required for something unless the item's not required. Quadrix, this is
Wow.
guarding the Annihilator beam.
Got a vanilla annihilator. Okay, well, I guess you can't use the back door this time. So, okay, so they might actually wind up having to get the item in Temple Assembly site after all.
Oh boy, if this will, so there's not too many items locked by Annihilator beam, but if a single STK is locked behind it or a required item, we could see a quad fight here.
There are maybe a half dozen or so items. There's in Cache 2 in Dark Aegon Waste. There's
Transport Tunnel South in
Transit Tunnel South. That's the one I was thinking of. There are a few echo gates in main gyro chambers, Sentinel's Path, Profane Path. Not too sure on others.
So that one Enghive key that Koushi picked up might just come in handy.
Propane path. Depends how you spell pain. Right, UMOS 2 is locked by Annihilator because there are two items in the room they start in the seat. One of them they have access to immediately, and the other one they actually have to return the Sanctuary Temple energy and then go all the way back, which I guess they could just save warp to it. So in order to do that, logically they need to defeat Quadraxis, collect the temple energy from dark energy controller, go back to light energy controller, and return it.
Oh boy.
But we don't know what that has yet. But that would be the sixth item, locked by Annihilator.
As pointed out, the keys are making the runners collect them. And there is our secret launcher, as predicted.
Okay. Secret launcher right next to a movement system. What do we have?
Without Dark Visor, you won't be able to check that item.
Stay tuned to find out. That's right. There is a secret door here, though.
Yep. Koushi is opting to go for the item here. And it's an SDK on Reed's end. And is that either Cannonball or Spider Ball? It's Cannonball.
So Ing Reliquary has Spider Ball. There's, I believe, only one Cannonball in this seed. Default tournament settings place one Cannonball.
If I'm not mistaken, hints also can't refer to Cannonball.
I'm not sure about. I believe Keybearer hints can. Keybearer hints and major bosses. I think it's referred to as a Morph Ball related upgrade or something like that.
And there's our progressive grapple on Reed's end, giving him the skirt attack.
Nice. Okay. Okay, so it's gravity boost in Poison Bog.
Again, might not be required. Wow.
Loaded Dark Torvus. Some people will opt to skip upper Dark Torvus in favor of lower Torvus instead. Actually, checking it really worked out for Reed.
And yes, as pointed out by chat, it was technically locked by Grapple Beam.
Yeah.
Another STK.
It's funny how often that seems to happen with progressive items. I notice in Link to the Past, oftentimes there will be a glove locked by glove or a silver arrows locked by bow.
You love to see it.
Oh, true. Venomous Pond does have a little ing cache that Reed is just showing right now that you could jump on top of. And I think it is in beginner standable terrain to actually jump on top of that and then jump over to the item. So technically they could get it without the first grapple.
And Reed opting to do another save warp here. At this point, I'm going to take a guess that Reed's going to go for the hints. The SDK hints.
Mm-hmm. Every time I save warp, I start walking forward when I'm supposed to just turn around and shoot the door. That's one of the things I'm trying to practice, ingrain in my memory. For the
and there's another STK on Koushi's side. And in regards to turning around, it took me a few playthroughs of Resident Evil 2 Remake of speedrunning that game where I didn't just run head first into the zombies instead of turning around near the start of the run.
It's kind of like how most gamers, whenever they gain control, like in a Metroidvania or whatever, they always go right, and there's usually something to the left at the start.
Yeah, that classic Metroid design, where so many games expected you to go right at the time. So to put emphasis on the backtracking, the Morph Ball was put on the left. And ever since every Metroid, I think every Metroid game is, or at least 2D Metroid game, has put Morph Ball related systems or the first item on the left, typically.
The second game was an exception where there was just a wall to the left. You had to... Well, actually, you go to the right and then you drop down and then you are supposed to go left next, come to think of it.
What do we have there on Reed's side? That looked like a Morph Ball system.
And with Metroid Prime, whenever you land on Talon 4, you do the dash to the left. Is definitely the best way to do it. And then you get space jump first.
I'm a little confused because I thought the key bearer hint earlier on said the morph ball related system was in Ing Reliquary.
Yeah. I guess that could refer to a power bomb.
Well, today I learned. And here we have our STK hints. Battleground. Wow, Dark Visor is super required. That's a vanilla STK.
Underground tunnel, always. Always got to do underground tunnel.
Just writing it down here.
I had a seed recently where underground tunnel was an expansion. It was incredible.
Main research, okay. That should be pretty free. Playing a Dark Worship with Koushi has already picked up. Dark Torvus Arena.
That is actually Boost Guardian's room. It may not necessarily be Boost Guardian itself. It could be up above.
Either way, it should be. And Mining Station. I didn't catch the letter there.
Probably B.
Yep, it has to be by a process of unless then again I don't
looked
think
up, right?
Did they look up? I don't think they did. It was Mining Station A, as pointed out by chat.
It was A? Okay. Well, I guess actually they didn't really have logical access to get there until Spider Ball. And it is kind of tricky if you're not too familiar with the standable terrain to actually jump to it. Although logic doesn't even put that wasp hive in it doesn't even consider that as part of the requirements because eventually that layer just goes away.
So I think our go mode item at this point is our Dark Visor.
That's what it looks like.
Theoretically, the Annihilator beam isn't required unless it just happens to be that the Dark Visor is locked behind the Annihilator beam.
I believe that's entirely possible. Do I want to believe it is the case, though? Am I that mean-spirited?
What would you like to see, chat?
It would be really interesting, though. The first instance in the tournament of Ing Hive keys being required, and probably the only instance.
As pointed out by chat, though, because we already confirmed that the Spider Ball is locked by Dark Visor, it can't be. Annihilator beam can't end up being required. The Dark Visor must be acquired before that fight.
For what?
So the Spider Ball was pointed out by was located at the Dark Meeting Grounds. I forget the name of that room.
Right, or Ritual Grounds. Okay.
Yeah. So because of that Spider Ball being located there, yeah, the Quadrixis stream,
Right. Okay. Yeah. The fight does require a Spider after all.
That being said, I don't think gravity booster is required either.
Yeah, I don't believe. Well, unless Dark Riser requires gravity booster.
True.
So some fun facts about Spider Ball and Quadraxis. You can totally beat Quadraxis without the Spider Ball. The logic assumes you will pick up the item once you beat Quadraxis, so that will activate the central platform where you're supposed to Spider Ball up. And generally, there's no way to get up and leave the room without Spider Ball. Except last year, it was recently discovered that there is a way to activate the elevator at the start when you enter, and then stand underneath the elevator to force it to go back up. And whenever the elevator reaches the bottom, it locks in place and is stuck there for until you reload the room. But if you get it to go back up to the top, then you could call it again just by standing close to it. And you can actually reactivate it during the fight and like send it back up. And then after the fight, once you collect the item, you can call the elevator down again. But the issue is once it gets to the bottom, it locks in place as per usual. So you have to get it to go back up by being underneath it and then jump on top of it as it's rising, which sounds ridiculously hard. And it was ridiculously hard until we figured out that you yourself don't have to stand under it. You can actually get the camera stuck underneath it. And as long as the camera is in motion as the elevator is crushing it, it won't just teleport above the elevator as usual. It'll actually send the elevator back up itself. And then you can get an instant unmorph and jump onto the elevator as it rises.
It's incredible how much is still being discovered for this game, like 20 years later. If anything, I would say the popularity of Echoes has been growing recently.
Yeah. And once we realized pretty much that the camera is a character in Prime 2, it is you are partially in control of the camera as well. Koushi unfortunately only has 3 missiles, so needs some refills to shoot that secret lock.
Yeah, so
the camera being an actor actually does affect things like terminal fall respawn triggers as well. So some interesting things.
So Koushi has what was I going to say? She just picked up her secret launcher. I'm not quite sure what she's trying to do here. I think she's trying to locate the Ing cache, but without the Dark Visor, it will not spawn, I'm afraid.
Probably trying to find the way out. It gets kind of tricky when you fall in a place and you're not expected to fall, and you're just like tucked away behind a wall. She does have more than 10 missiles maximum, so she will be getting these 10 missile refills. But holy crap, this Ing is annoying. So the Hunter Ing that is harassing Koushi this entire time, there are a couple ways to deal with it. One of them is Screw Attack, which she doesn't have right now. One of them is a point-blank shot with the charged light beam. It just won't have time to react, so it actually just dies. Usually if you fire the light beam from further away, it'll react and just instantly go invincible. Another way is by activating, shooting a safe zone with a light beam. Annihilator would instantly draw it in, but a light beam sometimes will not deter the Hunter Ing from passing through it, and it'll just poof.
Yeah, it's kind of important to learn how to take care of these enemies in particular, because they can really, really harass you and really prevent you from taking care of certain checks at times.
They are one of the worst for sure.
Especially the main danger is if you don't have that many E tanks. Ing tanks. If you don't have many E tanks and you're lacking a suit.
Or if you're trying to grab a grapple point and it just slaps you off of it.
I think she's had enough. Unfortunately, when it's phasing like this, they're pretty much impossible to hit. There you go. And
just clipped it with the outside of the safe zone.
Perfect demonstration of using the crystal as a weapon, firing it with light beam. And now acquiring her screw attack. Whenever you see a runner fire off a super missile, or experienced runner, they'll typically turn on their scan visor very briefly. There's another STK for Reed there. They'll enable their scan visor very briefly, and then fire their cannon again. And that way they can fire their cannon much quicker than if they were to just wait it out.
It is a little risky if you do it too early. It'll point your arm cannon downwards, and there are a few frames in which you can still fire the shot while aiming straight down and just shoot the floor in front of you. It's pretty fantastic.
There's Reed's hint for the Amorphous keys. Thank you, game. Oh, is that our Dark Visor? Or it could be Echo. We'll see in a moment. Hopefully for Reed, it's Dark Visor.
Oh, looks like Dark.
Dark Visor acquired. That's go mode, I believe.
Yeah, 132.02 is go mode for Reed.
That is a risky teleporter to take.
On Dolphin, yeah. Do you know if they play on Dolphin?
I did not confirm that beforehand.
I've never had it crash on Nintendo.
Reed is still doing some checks. Or I wouldn't say doing checks. Now I think about it, his next play will be go to Dark Torvus Arena to acquire the SDK there.
Yep. The other ones remaining for Reed are Battleground, Main Research, Plane of Dark Warship, and Mining Station A. I'm guessing Mining Station A and Battleground will be next. Main Research, I guess you can either go there through Torvus Bog, Lower Torvus, or through Aegon Waste. I don't know which would be faster, actually.
Can you say that again? Which way would be faster from where to where?
Whether you do the Aegon Temple keys, Aegon Sky Temple keys first, or Main Research. Because with Main Research, this is basically the first room with an item you access through Lower Torvus to get to Sanctuary. But,
right.
On the other hand, they're in Upper Torvus right now, which has an elevator to Aegon Waste, which is right next to Mining Station A. I think it would be worth it going down to Lower Torvus first, so you can take the lower path to get to the Aegon elevator. But I'm not sure it actually matters.
Reed opting to do Bush Guardian. And getting the quick kill with a power bomb.
Yeah, that can be a bit tricky for players. You have to either wait a bit for Boost Guardian to drop into a puddle, and there's the key on Boost Guardian itself. Or you can plan it like close to the center of the arena, right next to Boost Guardian, and it'll get pushed back out of range, but then the power bomb will catch up before it goes into puddle form again.
So I mistook the STK previously for the energy transfer module. Oh man, that would have been a humiliating way to lose the race.
Well, luckily you get hints anyway.
Sure.
Plane of Dark Warship. Actually, I wonder, maybe you could save warp after... I guess you save warp last, either way. Because Plane of Dark Warship is kind of on the way to Aegon from the front side. But you don't necessarily need to go through the front side.
Yeah, I would say this, like, on one hand, the save warp is en route, but on the other hand, you have to take an extra elevator if you're coming from Aegon.
Mm-hmm.
And as missed earlier, but the progressive suit hint in Torvus Temple energy controller, which is no use to our runners at this point.
A little bit late. When you get both of your suits right away, yeah, don't need a hint for that. Thanks anyway, game. You tried. That's normally a very useful hint.
Yeah. You typically want to know where you're having a direct hint like that. Wait.
Reed making sure to scan Crocus. Good work, Reed. We need more information. All right. Yeah. I just noticed Reed had to go through the Meditation Vista portal because they
didn't scan the or didn't boost the slot.
I see why. They are actually hunting for more items because they don't know where a spider ball is, do they?
Well, that's just it. Reed looked at, like, they found spider ball at the meeting grounds dark version, Warpath.
Are we sure it was there?
We can review the VOD.
Someone picked up spider ball. I'm pretty sure.
No, they saw spider ball in War Ritual grounds. Thank you, chat. But they didn't have Dark Visor at the time.
I'm thinking of Cannonball, I guess.
The other confusion for me was Ing Reliquary being a Morph Ball related upgrade. Not realizing that that could also refer to Power Bomb expansions till the seed.
Right. Okay. That's probably where my brain was getting mixed up.
Koushi picking up the Dark Visor now. So she too is in go mode. Although she does not know it yet because she has not got her STK hints. As pointed out,
Reed thinks they need Annihilator for some reason because they got a hint for it.
And as pointed out, Cannonball was in Mineshaft.
Mhm.
And Koushi actually currently has that. Although I don't think she's got into a cannon.
Although I don't know if she's reset it. Probably not. She probably still has Cannonball. We'll find out if she gets knocked around and does or does not take damage. Interesting. Taking this Seeker launcher and going back to Aegon. Probably going to find that key in Battleground and Mining Station A.
Oh no. And oh, she got it.
Yeah, you can clutch out last second missile if there's only one remaining. Yeah, good work on Koushi for pulling that one off. Though, yeah, they're called Seeker missiles for a reason.
Reed opting to go and pick up the gravity boost.
Maybe they didn't notice Spider Ball in War Ritual Grounds, or they're the ones that scanned it, right?
I don't know if they scanned it.
Or they just looked at it? Okay.
Yeah, because being behind the secret door.
Cannonball pretty much is just nice to have. So Cannonball is an item in Randomizer. It's actually an item in the main game. It's just that it never tells you when you pick up Cannonball. It actually is given to you anytime you enter a cannon. It's an actual item that just doesn't have a text prompt when you get it, because it's actually taken away shortly thereafter. The one exception is if you take a cannon and then unload the room with the cannon, then it just never runs the script to take away your cannonball, and you get to keep it until you die or reset or take another cannon.
Yeah, now you mentioned it, I don't think we ever fully explained Cannonball.
So it has several properties that are pretty weird. For one thing, it gives you the ability to use Boost Ball. It doesn't really let you break things with Boost Ball. It actually prevents you from breaking things with Boost Ball, but it lets you boost. So you can like go up half pipes, you can activate spinner slots, etc. It also makes you invincible to almost everything in the game. Even you don't even take knockback from enemies when you're in morph ball form. It also does 500,000 damage per frame to anything you touch. So enemies that are vulnerable to cannonball just instantly die.
So in regards to the randomizer, Cannonball is its own item, and it's kind of an exclusive wildcard item.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like the Joker in the deck.
Exactly. It's never required logically, and like it doesn't put boost ball checks into play until you actually get boost ball itself. But you can also use Cannonball not only to for certain shortcuts, like for example, you can skip through you can roll right through the lasers in Aegon Mines or the Space Labs. Scanning the tree there on Reed's end. But the other great thing for Cannonball in regards to doing checks ahead of time is in Reliquary. It typically you need a light suit to survive because the atmosphere is so damaging there without light suit. But with Cannonball, in effect, you can just roll on right through without care in the world, and you'll be fine. So now that Reed has a spider ball, yeah, he's in full effect here.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably just kind of forgot that spider ball was there, and now is realizing he's in go mode. Hopefully. So Koshi's getting her gravity boost as well. Not really sure where that. She's not quite sure where that spider ball is yet. She has yet to check her hints, but might as well kind of get some checks out of the way beforehand. Unfortunately, she kind of needs to go and get eyes on those hints as soon as possible.
Yeah, she's not too far behind right now in regards to how many STK she has. She already has the Plane of Dark Worship STK, which Reed hasn't picked up yet.
I feel like she's been she's improved quite a bit since the previous round.
It's incredible how much you can improve in this game in such a short period of time.
Yeah, I think she started playing Echoes very recently. Picked it up for the Randomizer tournament. So she had just a lot of experience to get under her belt to get to where she is now.
All right, so Reed is done. He did the safe warp and now is picking up the SDK en route to Aegon.
Right. I should say that she's what she was lacking before was just experience, and she's making that up now.
Now, with no final bosses in effect, do you think we have a sub 2 hour seed on our hands with Reed?
Very well could be, yeah. We just got a couple of areas just to dip into just for a couple of keys.
I think the slowest key, well, it's not the most out of the way key, I should clarify, will be main research and sanctuary. No required bosses to seed either. Like we did have Goose Guardian guarding an STK.
Yeah. And vanilla quad not required. That was a real close call.
Yeah. As a reminder for the seed, we do not have final bosses on due to gentleman's agreement, or ladies and gentlemen. Koushi is opting to go further into the depths of Torvis.
It was pretty interesting. Before the tournament, we have discussion about what the rules should be, and like we have the community vote what they want the tournament to be, what settings should be default in the tournament, and of course, we all agreed that we should be able to agree to different settings with our competitor, and the default setting for final bosses was just barely over 50% in favor of fighting the final bosses. But with the gentleman's agreements, the players in this particular round, half of them have agreed to turn them off.
Some of the other settings that typically get debated on are progressive grapple. And
3 missiles again for secret locks. This is kind of tricky because it's kind of hard to respawn enemies, or it kind of takes a while to get the enemy kills necessary in this room. And to actually find the enemies in the first place, this is a pretty tall room, and they just wiggle around in the water.
It's also one of the most notorious secret locks in the entire game, in my opinion. If Koushi had Cannonball before, she's lost it now.
No, actually, that one does not take away Cannonball. In Lower Torvus, only the one in Gathering Hall takes it away.
Well, today I learned.
Yeah.
And
everything in Echoes is a case-by-case basis.
Yeah. Reed going for his Battleground STK with the Incache. And yeah, just to finish off what I was saying earlier on, some of the other popular choices for Gentleman's Agreement is whether you need main power bombs to use a power bomb. Oh, that was an unfortunate bonk. Whether you require the missile.
Didn't see that coming.
Whether you require, lucky on Koushi's end to get that seeker. Whether you require the main launcher to use missile launcher, and progressive grapple, whether it's being enabled or disabled. With the tournament rules being that they are separate items, but in this preset for this particular race, it was a progressive.
There are also a ton of other settings in the randomizer that we didn't even bother voting on. We technically voted on where we should start in the game, and we voted for Great Temple energy controller, just because that's the most convenient way. Basically, kind of skip the boring introductory section that all the events are removed from the introduction anyway, so you're just walking through. But it gets you straight into the action with a Alpha Splinter fight, and gives you more options as to where to route at the start, whether you actually risk going to GFMC and potentially soft locking, or whether you actually go to your intended Aegon elevator progression.
And it also guarantees that you'll get the Violet Translator immediately, and kind of a handy one to get early on.
But there is the option in the Randomania to start in literally any room. Well, not literally any room. There are a few exceptions. One of them being the credits, that actually is considered a separate room.
Yep.
Although you could choose to enable random elevators to go literally anywhere, including credits. So that's an interesting setting. You could also randomize what color the translator gates require to open them, including disabling or having a null color and just being able to open with scan visor in general.
Now, I'm not sure if this is the fastest way for Reed to get to main research. The three main ways of getting there is either the way he's going through the front entrance, taking the Aegon elevator to the spider side, or finally taking the Torvus Depths elevator to the vault side, which is the side he actually needs to go.
Yeah, I don't know. On the one hand, the spider side will require solving the main gyro puzzle to get across the top side. And in this case, he's going through the entrance, which will require the whole pirate fight at the entrance, as well as, I guess dealing with the Seeker Lock afterwards isn't that bad. But then he could just go straight left to main research after main or reactor core rather.
This fight shouldn't take too long for Reed with his current setup.
With a bunch of late game items, this encounter is pretty trivial. Charged dark beam with missiles will instantly kill them. If they have their shield up, you could actually. It was kind of discovered pretty not that long ago that you could just, if they have their shield up, you could shoot the ground underneath them, and the ooze will latch onto them and still freeze them. So you could one-shot them that way as well.
And then, of course, you can just powerbomb them.
Yep. And sometimes the one or two of them will spawn right next to phazon crates, and you can destroy the crate to instantly vaporize them. Which is easier said than done, because actually a weird quirk in the way Prime handles combat is that when you fire the beam, it checks if there's an enemy in your line of sight or nearby your line of sight, and it'll just hone in on that enemy, regardless whether you're locked on or not. So if you're trying to shoot the crate next to the enemy, it's almost impossible. You actually have to break your line of sight with some crate or something.
You can also just boost through the crates, I believe.
Oh, that is an option, but the crates do damage you for 80 damage, I believe.
They do.
If you don't have cannonball, that's
I know. I've experienced this firsthand with 0 E-tanks at one point. That was a fun discovery. Somehow survived the bite, but never close call.
Wow. That's actually pretty common in Sanctuary entrance, because you want to go fast, you want to get across the bridge, but there is a crate right on that path.
Reed going for this item here.
Yep, that's the power bomb door you want.
Oh, but
fascinating.
What the? And because of that fun camera angle, he's out of power bombs. Or missed his power bomb.
Okay,
oh no!
Right up next to that door, and you should be fine. Okay, you're right. He's out of power bombs now. What the heck, camera? I've seen that happen in Temple Assembly Site. What?
Looks like I might need to reload the room at this point.
You might as well just turn on menu mod and deactivate morph ball. It's useless right now. Unfortunately, menu mod is disabled in the tournament settings. That would be nice. So menu mod is another beginner-friendly tool, on by default in the various presets built into Randovania. It allows you to warp to any room. It allows you to turn on and off any item and or key, or just to put it in your inventory and remove it. You can change room layers, so if you want to refight a boss over and over, you can do that.
All right.
Also, expansions. You could also save in any room, and you can also die without any confirmation message.
Koushi,
if you accidentally hold up.
Yes, I'm going to touch on that in a sec. I just want to mention that Koushi is fighting against the Alpha Blog. And as for the menu mod, I don't know. I don't understand why there isn't a confirmation on death. Because so many players have accidentally pressed up one too many times and pressed A in a rush and instantly lose a ton of progress. It boggles the mind why there isn't a confirmation button for that option.
Although technically, if there were a confirmation message, it would slow you down if you want a death warp. You want to save the frames, don't you?
But it's menu mod. It's against the rules.
details.
Reed going for the puzzle the good old-fashioned way, but that is his 9th STK, and now it's just a rush to the Sky Temple Gateway, and Reed is done. Alas, this ain't a sub 2 hour seed, but it's close enough.
Yeah, it was pretty darn close. Has he gotten the Planet Dark Warship key?
Yes. When he save warped to Great Temple and then acquired it on this route to Aegon. The Alpha Blog is so problematic fighting when you're so low on ammo. This entire race, Koushi has just been struggling with the rather abysmal ammo situation throughout the seed, and attempting to go for the bomb space jump to get out here.
Pretty far away from the... Yeah, I figured wasn't going to make it to that platform. You do want to be kind of next to it, but it is pretty hard to see. Gonna get bonked again? No? Okay.
So it's just the same as before, like tricking the game into thinking that you're on the ground, doing the double jump and then using the gravity booster to actually reach the platform and then just leave the fight entirely.
This is a really good trick to learn, but boy, is it tricky. You gotta be in position, you gotta not get knocked around by the Alpha Block, which is pretty much random. You gotta blindly gravity boost on top of the platform.
But she gets it.
You're high enough. Yeah. Well done.
That's a good trick for beginner.
Yeah, with the low ammo she had, that was definitely worth doing. Even with the Alpha Blog on half health by now, it would have taken too long to actually finish the fight.
Yeah, it's one of the longest. It's such a long fight if you don't have the ammo for it. And a really huge thumbs up for getting that trick, because like even I struggled with that trick. Just like the stress of having the Alpha Blog in the room charging you the entire time and pulling off the trick. Yeah, it can really get to someone. A tricky trick, you say? Yes, chat.
So Reed is opting to open that Seeker missile door with the Seeker launcher instead of going out of bounds. It's interesting. Okay, so that's all of the Sky Temple keys for Reed.
And all he needs to do is hold forward on the stick, and that will be it. And that's time.
GG.
So hopefully Reed will join us for an interview soon. Okay, Koushi has forfeited, and she is actually unavailable for an interview.
Okay.
But kudos to her, and yeah, especially getting that Alpha Blog skip at the right at the end. And joining us in the booth, welcome.
Good evening, everybody.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, how did you like that seed?
That was I was really worried whenever I got that quad hint.
We were hoping.
Excited.
I was excited too, but it was like, oh no, not this.
Bet you regret skipping that Inghive key on the
Exactly. At the very beginning, yeah.
But no, it was just bait.
As was a Morbus. It got both of you, actually.
Okay. Well, I was really worried about that because I figured a Morbus was going to be bait, but it's like, okay, there's a chance that Seekers is on there. There's a chance that Dark or Echo's on there. I haven't gotten a hint for it, so okay.
Look,
I
yeah,
likely would have done the same thing as well. Yeah, that's definitely... That happens to... That baits everyone, just about.
There are too many good items that were still available to not do it.
there's also a pretty loaded Dark Torvus there. So Koushi has joined us.
Hey, Koushi, GG.
Not sure if they'll be on mic, but...
Hi. Sorry, I
there
had
you
stuff to get plugged in. How's it going?
Welcome, GG.
GG.
So GG, Koushi.
How'd that seed feel for you?
I get lost in Torvus. I'll be honest, it's the first time I've ever been to Lower Torvus. Yeah. Other than that, pretty fun, other than the big fuck up I had at the start where I locked myself in.
Although kudos to you going out the way to get the Emerald Translator.
Yeah, that could have been worse. That wasn't... that was a pretty good recovery. You didn't lose that much time at all.
Thankfully.
And also shout out to you getting the Alpha Blog skip there, because I know how challenging that can be.
Oh, nice. You did Alpha Blog skip?
Not gonna lie, I totally forgot where to do it from, so it took a little bit.
That's awesome.
That Dark Torvus was pretty dense, eh?
Yeah, with the that was nice with gravity boost and everything.
I was worried about there being something on and lower, and then I found the keys, and it's like, okay, I don't need anything. That Lower Torvus, perfect. And then it's like, okay, well, movement system. This could be that spider ball, because I don't know if that's spider ball or cannonball locked behind the dark visor door.
Cannonball was the room next to whatchamacallit, next to where you fight Bomb Guardian through the dark door, where you have to climb up on top. I was going in there thinking it was spider, but that was a cannonball.
Okay.
Yes, mineshaft.
Yes, mineshaft. Sorry, thank you. Did either of us find spider ball?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, where was it?
It was in the dark door.
War Ritual grounds.
War Ritual grounds.
Oh, of course.
The door, yeah.
The dark visor door. Yeah, right before the hints.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many things or STKs locked behind Dark Visor that we, at least I was personally wondering if Dark Visor might be in a Trollsome location, but turned out, no, pretty early on Torvus.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
I wish I had found it before I went and got my hints, but oh well.
What you gonna do?
Yeah,
I'm so annoyed that I went to fight a Morbus because it gave us all the keys really early. So I was thinking it must be required, and
I did the same thing. Don't feel bad.
I was actually thinking that's where Dark Visor would be, so I did that before I went to Battleground, which nice.
I say no. I got lucky and hit Battleground before that. That way I could do the Dark Beam skip out of that room. But no, I still had Seekers missing. I still had Echo. I still had Dark. All of that still missing. It's like, okay, Morbus might have progression with us getting these keys early. So
fair enough. Yeah, my first time doing Lower Torvus wasn't that bad. Yeah, sorry, Pyro. I went to host someone because I've got a bunch of stuff to do. So
no worries. I just wanted to double check that you knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. At least it's still Metroid.
Fair enough.
But no, I was getting super nervous there at the end because I'm like, okay, 2 hours and 3 minutes, and all these keys are in fairly okay locations. Oh god.
Yeah, no required bosses other than Boost Guardian.
Yeah, Boost Guardian was it.
Neat.
Having an STK in case.
You
I
also
wanted
got the
to-
quad hint, right, Koushi?
Yeah, and I just kind of decided it wasn't worth it.
Nice.
I was
Okay.
tempted to do Sanctuary through the the power bomb door past Dark Samus, but not having gravity not having Spider, I didn't really want to go into there. I'm not sure if that was the right call or not, but
Turns out
I
it
burned
was.
so much time. Yeah, no, I burned so much time going checking Spider side, and there was a key, a Dark Torvis key, a light ammo expansion, and a missile pack.
okay.
At that point, maybe that missile pack was worth it.
Yeah, I was
Sure.
on 5 missiles forever.
Dude, those secret doors are awful.
Oh yeah, no, secret doors are the biggest. They're the
So
worst
many
thing in the
times
game.
I had to go back just to get more ammo because it would miss one and I couldn't follow up on it.
Our hearts were going out to you, Koushi. Just like the amount of times the secret missiles were trolling you. And,
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
They were my
1,
final-
2, 3. Where's the other 2? Uh-oh.
Yeah, no, I knew they were on my final run. That's why I was like, I know I'm probably running behind, but I need to at least stop for a few seconds and get at least 10 more missiles because I only have 9. That means I can only fire at the secret door that's between me and Side Temple Keys once. So if I don't stop, I'm going to go all the way back and get more missiles because this door is awful.
That's why I was wondering why you're making a quick pit stop here and there right at the end.
Because I only had 9 missiles and I know how that door is.
Yep.
Yep.
I would much rather stop for the couple of seconds on the way, grab as much ammo as I can. That way, it's like, okay, I've got 24 missiles now. I feel much better about this door being the final boss of the game.
Yeah.
I'm a little
Well, you had screw
annoyed.
attack.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, you had screw attack. You only need 1 missile.
Oh god, I forget that door can have that. I always forget about that.
Yeah, I don't recommend it. It's a advanced logic trick.
Otherwise, do we have any final thoughts from our runners?
You want to go first, Reed?
No, go ahead.
I feel I failed that BSJ so many times after the pirate fight that I kind of cried, and then I came back later and then hit the dash first try. So
Yeah,
I was a
well done
little
on that.
tilted.
Yeah, like we were a little. We saw the attempts there, but yeah, the scan dash, and as I say, like I don't mean to be a broken record, but the alpha blog skip again. Well done to that.
Thanks.
No, that's just him talking about the tricks you pulled off. I'm really looking forward to going back and watching this.
Listen,
Yeah,
half
it
the
was a pretty
time,
close race.
half the time I don't know how to do something the intended way, so I'll end up doing like a BSJ or something just to get around it. So
And I'm really bad about going through everything very, very non-trick, very vanilla, kind of boring, you know.
That can play to your favor at times.
yeah, especially with the low logic stuff.
Yep.
Otherwise, huge shout outs to our trackers, Jojo Mojo 2 and Op82. Like not only doing a great job on and like keeping on top of the items, but also keeping like us on track of things. In particular, like I felt there's a few times I missed something, and yeah, they're just helping us correct there in chat too, for that matter.
We love you, chat.
Thank you to SpeedGaming for hosting us. We always appreciate it. That's it for tonight for Echo's randomizer races. But there is more coming at you tomorrow, and later tonight we have the Final Fantasy Randomizer Weekly, and on this same channel, and the link to the past Randomizer Daily Race Blitz mode, which will be in SpeedGaming too. And otherwise, thank you for all joining us. I'm Pyro Paper Planes.
I'm Jagger G. And thanks everyone for thanks to the runners, commentators, checkers. Be sure to follow all the people, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. See y'all later.
See you next mission. Later, guys.